Today we're breaking down everything you need to know about the latest changes surrounding Social Security, SSI, and SSDI benefits. What actually went up, why it went up, who qualifies, how payments are calculated, what future adjustments are expected, and why many people are talking about stimulus-type support, even though no official stimulus has been passed. This video is made to clear things up calmly and factually so you can understand exactly what's happening without rumors or confusion. To start, the biggest update everyone is asking about is the increase in Social Security payments. Whenever people hear the phrase Social Security just went up, they immediately want to know two things. How much did it go up? And does this apply to SSI and SSDI as well? So let's break that down in a simple way. Social Security benefits, whether they are retirement, disability, SSDI, or supplemental security income, SSI, usually increase once per year due to something called the cost of living. Adjustment, also known as COLA. COLA is not random. It is calculated using real inflation data from the Consumer Price Index. The idea is to protect purchasing power, so people living on fixed incomes aren't hurt when prices rise. Every year, usually in October, the Social Security Administration announces the new COLA rate for the upcoming year. Once it is announced, the change automatically adjusts people's monthly checks starting in January. People often feel this update as a raise because their check goes up without them having to apply for anything, fill out forms, or request a review. Now, the phrase Social Security just went up means exactly this. The new COLA has kicked in and monthly payments increased accordingly. Some people may also see changes earlier depending on how their benefits are structured, especially SSI recipients who get their payments at the beginning of the month, sometimes even the day before if the payment date falls on a weekend or holiday. When Social Security goes up, SSI and SSDI generally go up too, because all three use the same COLA percentage. The difference is in how the base amount is calculated. SSI has a federal maximum payment level, which increases with COLA. SSDI is based on lifetime work history and average indexed monthly earnings. Retirement benefits also depend on the age at which you claimed them and your earnings over your career. So when people talk about SSI, SSDI, and Social Security going up together, they're mainly referring to the COLA increase that affects all programs. Now let's talk about what actually drives this increase. Over the past few years, inflation in the United States has gone through significant shifts. In some years, inflation was extremely high, leading to unusually large COLA increases. In other years, inflation cooled down and COLA grew more moderately because the Social Security Administration uses a specific formula, not opinions, not politics, not announcements on TV. The exact amount of the increase is determined by real inflation numbers from July, August, and September of the previous year. This system is important because it ensures fairness and transparency. People don't have to guess, and the government isn't free to change benefit amounts randomly. The COLA formula has been in place for decades, and unless Congress passes new laws, this is how increases will continue to work. Next, one of the biggest sources of confusion is the idea of a stimulus. Whenever cost of living is discussed, many people ask, is there a stimulus check coming? Is the raise part of a stimulus? Are seniors getting a special extra payment? It's important to be absolutely clear. As of now, no official federal stimulus check has been approved for Social Security, SSI, or SSDI beneficiaries. There are discussions, proposals, and political opinions floating around, but proposals are not laws, ideas are not programs, and headlines are not payments. What is true is that every year, Congress, advocacy groups, and some policymakers talk about ways to help seniors and disabled Americans. These discussions can include checking formulas, expanding benefits, adjusting the taxable wage base, or funding supplemental support programs. But until a bill is approved by both houses of Congress and signed by the president, no stimulus payment exists. This is why when talking about any Social Security update, it's important to separate actual changes like COLA from discussions or rumors about potential future support. Now, let's go deeper into how the increase affects different groups. For retirees, the increase often feels the most significant. Many older Americans rely on Social Security for a large portion of their monthly income. When prices rise, groceries, utilities, medical costs, rent, transportation, even small increases can make a noticeable difference. A COLA bump helps offset rising expenses. But it doesn't mean people suddenly have extra money. It is more about maintaining the same standard of living they had before inflation. Retirees also have Medicare premiums, which sometimes eat into the COLA increase. Some years, Medicare Part B premiums rise sharply, reducing the net effect of the Social Security raise. In other years, premiums stay stable or barely increase, allowing more of the COLA increase to show up in the monthly benefit amount. Many retirees also ask why their friend or spouse got a different increase amount. The answer is that COLA is a percentage, not a flat number. If someone has a higher base benefit, they get a larger increase in dollar terms. Two people with different retirement histories will receive different raise amounts, even though the percentage is the same. For SSDI recipients, the COLA increase works the same way. Payments rise by the same percentage as retirement benefits. But SSDI recipients also need to consider something else. Income limits related to work. If someone receiving SSDI tries to work or earns extra money, they must stay within certain limits to avoid affecting their eligibility. These limits also adjust periodically, but they are separate from COLA. The point here is that while SSDI benefits increase with inflation, people on disability still need to keep track of any work activity or earnings they may have, because those rules do not change automatically just because benefits went up. SSDI beneficiaries sometimes confuse SSI and SSDI rules. SSDI is based on your work history. SSI is based on financial need. The COLA increase applies to both, but the rules for income, assets, and eligibility are very different. SSI recipients receive the federal maximum benefit, which also increases based on COLA. Unlike SSDI, SSI is need-based, meaning your income, savings, and living situation affect the payment amount. When the SSI federal maximum goes up, the base amount increases for everyone. However, if someone receives state supplements, help from family, or food and shelter support, their personal payment amount may vary. SSI rules are strict and updated regularly, so even though SSI does go up with COLA, individual checks can still be different from person to person. One important thing about SSI is that beneficiaries often receive their payment earlier if the first day of the month falls on a weekend or holiday. This sometimes leads to confusion when people think they are receiving two payments in 1 month. It's not extra money, it's simply an early payment for the next month. The word stimulus became extremely common during the pandemic because the government approved several rounds of nationwide payments. Ever since then, people associate any major government update, especially related to Social Security, with the possibility of stimulus checks. Rumors and misunderstandings often grow when news outlets or social media creators use exaggerated titles or unclear wording. A COLA increase sometimes gets referred to as a boost, bonus, or extra payment, which leads people to think it's a stimulus check. In reality, it's simply the annual cost of living increase. If there were to be a future stimulus specifically for SSI, SSDI, or Social Security, it would require full congressional approval and major public announcements. It cannot happen quietly or without official confirmation because funding such programs requires large-scale legislative action. Many people don't realize that Social Security isn't funded the way most government programs are. Unlike programs that rely solely on annual appropriations from Congress, Social Security operates through a dedicated system of payroll taxes. Workers contribute a portion of their earnings, and employers contribute a matching amount. These contributions go directly into the Social Security trust funds, which are specifically designated to pay benefits to retirees, disabled workers, and the surviving family members of deceased workers. This structure creates a self-funded system where current workers' taxes help support current beneficiaries rather than relying entirely on general tax revenues. However, this funding model faces long-term pressures due to significant demographic shifts in the United States. People are living longer than ever before, meaning retirees collect benefits for more years than originally projected when the system was first designed. At the same time, birth rates have declined and fewer workers are entering the labor force relative to the number of retirees. This results in a shrinking ratio of workers paying into the system compared to the number of beneficiaries drawing benefits. Because of these changes, Social Security requires careful monitoring and adjustments to ensure it remains solvent and sustainable for future generations. The cost of living adjustment. COLA, plays an important role in this system. It ensures that benefits keep pace with inflation so that retirees and disabled individuals don't lose purchasing power as prices rise. Without COLA, the value of Social Security checks could erode over time, making it harder for recipients to afford necessities like groceries, medications, and housing. However, while COLA addresses short-term inflation, it doesn't solve the long-term financial challenges caused by demographic changes. That's why policymakers often discuss the possibility of additional reforms to strengthen the program over the decades. Some of the most frequently discussed ideas for reform include adjusting the taxable wage cap. Currently, only income up to a certain limit is subject to Social Security payroll taxes. Raising or eliminating this cap could increase funding by requiring high earners to contribute on a larger portion of their wages, helping support benefits for everyone. Increasing contributions. Another approach is to raise the payroll tax rate slightly for workers and employers. Even a small increase can generate substantial revenue over time, helping to maintain the program's solvency without reducing benefits. Changing benefit formulas. Policymakers sometimes explore modifying how benefits are calculated. This could involve adjusting formulas for new retirees, targeting higher benefits toward lower-income individuals, or reducing benefits for those with very high lifetime earnings. Any changes would aim to balance fairness, sustainability, and the needs of current and future beneficiaries. Expanding or shrinking eligibility. Adjusting eligibility rules could include raising the retirement age gradually to reflect longer life expectancies or redefining certain disability criteria. Conversely, policymakers could consider expanding benefits for vulnerable groups in targeted ways, strengthening the disability review process. For SSDI, ensuring that recipients are reviewed fairly and accurately can help protect the integrity of the program. This includes verifying ongoing eligibility while maintaining support for those who genuinely need benefits. Providing supplemental support for low-income seniors. In addition to COLA, some proposals suggest offering additional assistance for seniors with limited incomes to help cover rising costs for healthcare, housing, and daily necessities. It's crucial to note that these are ongoing discussions, not confirmed changes. Social Security adjustments require careful deliberation, and any long-term reform must be signed into law by Congress. The process is deliberate because of the program's critical importance to millions of Americans. For many people, Social Security is far more than just a monthly check. It represents financial security, medical security, and emotional peace of mind. Knowing that you have a guaranteed income can relieve stress, allow for better planning, and provide stability in retirement or during periods of disability. Even small updates to Social Security benefits, such as annual COLA increases, can have a meaningful impact on day-to-day life. This is why accurate information, careful planning, and clear communication from policymakers are so important. Every change, no matter how minor it seems, affects real lives, families, and communities across the country. When COLA increases take effect, millions of families adjust their budgets. People plan their monthly medication, groceries, and rent around these payments. That's why clarity is so important. Headlines can be exciting, but at the end of the day, people deserve accurate information, not rumors or promises that may never become reality. So when we say Social Security just went up, it means the new COLA percentage has taken effect. Monthly payments have been adjusted. SSI, SSDI, and retirement benefits all rise with the same percentage. No special stimulus has been approved. Any future stimulus would require a new law. As inflation changes, Social Security updates will continue each year. Some years may bring bigger increases, some smaller. But the system itself is designed to respond to economic conditions. The COLA formula is built to protect your purchasing power, not to offer bonuses, not to provide extra cash, and not to deliver stimulus checks. Keeping track of the following will help you stay informed. Annual COLA announcements from the SSA updates to Medicare premiums, SSI income and asset limits, SSDI work activity rules. Legislative proposals being debated in Congress. Understanding these elements gives you full control over your expectations, planning, and financial decisions. Social Security increasing is a normal annual process. It happens because prices rise, not because of political decisions or stimulus programs. If a stimulus were ever to be approved in the future, it would be widely reported by official government agencies. For now, beneficiaries can rely on the steady, predictable structure of COLA, which ensures that checks increase automatically to match inflation. This provides stability, clarity, and financial protection during times when the cost of living continues to shift. This year's increase, whatever the exact percentage, is part of that system. It's designed to help millions of Americans maintain their standard of living, even as prices continue to change.